Good morning, majors. So today we're going to go over notes. This is Unit 8, Day 2 notes. And I just drew a picture of a square. I use my lines so that it's pretty straight. Just draw a picture of a square and a picture of a rectangle. And then we're going to go over the characteristics of each. And then we have one more, which is a rhombus. A square, what's special about a square is all four sides are equal. And we know that the measure is equal, so we say that the four sides are congruent. And also what we know are opposite sides are congruent. If all four are congruent, then the opposite sides are congruent. Also, my opposite sides are parallel. This is a symbol for parallel, which means that they go on forever and they do not intersect. They have the same slope and they're congruent, so I'm going to mark that in there. I'm going to say that this is equal to this one. Oh, I wanted blue. So this one is equal to this side, and this side is equal to this side. Actually, they're all equal, so let me just put 4 on. Okay. So what we know about the angles of a square is that they are all equal. They're actually all 90-degree angles. So I'm going to put that in there. All four angles are congruent, and they're all 90 degrees. Also, we know that consecutive angles, which we're going to look at for all these quadrilaterals, which means the ones that are next to each other, are going to be supplementary. So consecutive angles are supplementary, which means they add up to equal 180. Let's look at the diagonals. So if you're looking at a diagonal, it's going to go from one vertex to the other. Maybe, let me see, use this one. Let's look at red. So this right here it just worked. What happened? Is a diagonal. And this one right here, this vertex to this vertex, is also a diagonal. And what we know is that, what we know about our diagonals is that they are congruent. So I'm going to label this. I'm going to tell you what my diagonals are. I'm going to say this is A, B, and then this vertex is C and D. And my diagonals are AC and BD. Those are my two diagonals. And what I know about them is they are congruent in a square. So, oops. So that means AC is equal to BD. The measure is equal. They bisect each other. So this is something special that you probably didn't know about squares. They bisect each other, which means they cut them in each other in half equally. They bisect each other. One more thing, they are perpendicular. This is just a lot of writing, right? So perpendicular, that means that AB is, this is the symbol for perpendicular. Sorry, AC, right? AC. AC is perpendicular to BD. And what that means is they meet each other at a 90-degree angle. So this is always going to be a 90-degree angle in a square. This one's always, and this one is always, right? So these are right triangles in here. This one's a right triangle. This is a 90-degree angle. So that's my hypotenuse. This is a right triangle. So that's something special that they're going to expect us to know, and we're going to do stuff with that. Let's look at the rectangle. So for a rectangle, I'm going to name mine E, F, G, and H. And for a rectangle, we know that all sides are not equal. However, the opposite sides are equal. We also know that the opposite sides are parallel. So what that means is this side is equal in measure to this side, and this side is equal in measure to this side, and this one is parallel to this one, and this one is parallel to this one. Okay, so for the angles, we know that also all of the corners meet at a 90-degree angle. These are all 90-degree angles. So all four angles, this is the symbol for angle, apostrophe S. Angles are congruent. They're all 90 degrees, always, in a rectangle. And also we know that the consecutive angles are supplementary again, because they're equal to 90. So 90 plus 90 is 180, or 90 plus 90 is 180, or 90 plus 90 is 180. So we're going to say consecutive angles are supplementary. Okay. Let's look at the diagonals. My diagonals are going to be F, H, and E, G. And I know that my diagonals are going to be congruent. They're equal. Okay. And they bisect each other also. So I want you guys to try this out. In the square, what kind of triangles are made? And the rectangle, what kind of triangles are made if my diagonals are equal and they bisect each other? I want you guys to try to figure that out. Understand what is happening. So what they're saying is this side is equal to this side, and this side is equal to this side. So what kind of triangle is it? They don't meet at a 90-degree angle, so they're not a right triangle, but there is a special classification we can say about these triangles. There's one more. It's called a rhombus, and this is something that might be a little bit new for you. So this is my rhombus. I named it ABCD because that's what it told me, and I'm just going to fill in the information I know about it. I know that in a rhombus, all my sides are equal. We have four sides again. If all four sides are congruent, my opposite sides are going to be congruent. If all four sides are congruent, they're going to ask you that. My opposite sides are also parallel. This is the symbol for parallel again. So I know that this side is parallel to this one, and this side is parallel to this one. I know that about my angles, I know my opposite angles are congruent. So they're not necessarily 90 degrees. You can see this one's bigger than 90, this one's less than 90. But I do know that my opposite angles, angle apostrophe S, are congruent. So I know that angle B is equal to angle D, and angle A is equal to angle C. And I know that my consecutive angles, so the ones that are right next to each other, are going to be supplementary. I'm going to write that out. Consecutive angle apostrophe S are supplementary. Which means they add up to equal 180. Write that in there. Now my diagonals. If I have a diagonal from B to D and from A to C, some really cool things happen to my diagonals. My diagonals are perpendicular, just like the square. Also, I know that my diagonals bisect each other. Just like the square and the rectangle. So it says what types of triangles are made by these diagonals. So these are 4 triangles, and I know that they are perpendicular, so they are right triangles, and they bisect each other, so that this side is equal to this side, and this side is equal to this side. So I know that they are right triangles. What else do you know about these? Okay, so you're just going to do some practice. I'll help you guys with a couple. Classify the parallelogram as a rhombus, rectangle, or square. So we have 3 options. We know that my angles are all 90 degrees, so I know it's not a rhombus. And the opposite sides are equal, but not all 4 are. So I know this is a rectangle. This one, we have all my angles are 90 degrees, and all my sides are equal, so this is a square. Try the rest. Find the value of x and y. So it is a square. They're telling you this is a square. So each side is equal to 12. So that means that 3x minus 6 equals 12. Add 6 to each side. 3x equals 18. Divide by 3. X equals 6, right? Now also, if it's a square, my angles are all 90 degrees. So you're going to have to remember that. And we're going to say 10 minus 4y equals 90. Solve for y. If this is a rhombus, we don't really know anything about these angles. They're not 90. They are supplementary though. So we know that 5x minus 2 plus 2x equals 180. That's what supplementary means. So this is going to be for the right triangle. Also, for a rhombus, we need to remember that my side lengths are equal. So this side is equal to this side. So 21 equals the 3y minus 3. And actually, each side is 21. They're all equal. And solve for y. Alright guys, I want you guys to try some of these out, and we'll go over some of them in class. You do have a couple of true and false. You can look at your previous notes that we just did today, or you can Google it. Okay? Have a great night. I'll see you in class tomorrow.